Why, hello there everybody, my name is Threatx and welcome to a game called Aska. Guys, this game has ruined my life for the last week. It is a game where you go into a randomly generated map and you create your very own Viking tribe as either Ragnar or Aska herself. Now, this game is awesome because of one main reason for me, which is the actual tribe management, guys. If you played a game called Bellwright before, this is very similar. You literally go and get your own randomized villages. They do things across your camp, and they help you build a mighty Viking village, as you can kind of see in the background here. So, this video is going to be mainly a focus on the first half-hour gameplay. How do you start the game? What do you do? How do you get your first villager? And then after that, we can do a little bit of like tips and tricks, because at this point, in like the last week, I played this game for 60 hours. Yeah, I played way too much of this, but regardless, that's what we're going to be doing. So without any further ado, let's dive right into a brand new fresh game and show people how to get things started. Where are we? Oh. Here we are, everybody. Don't ask me what this thing is, because I have no idea, but it looks terrifying. And yes, I have tried to punch it when it was running away, but it's just damn way too fast. So here we are, everybody, Aska. Now, this is a weird thing about this game, right? So at the start, on a surface level, this is a survival game, but it's not really. It's not really a survival game, otherwise I won't be playing it too much. This is more of like a city, well, not a city, a colony builder with like the NPCs that help you do stuff. It's mostly about that, but in the process, you do have the base of a survival game. Like, you literally run around and punch trees. Actually, you can't punch trees, guys. I'm sorry, this isn't Minecraft. But you can hit trees with axes to get wood and that kind of thing. So, we're at the start of the game. You literally start off with pretty much nothing. Like, you literally are on a shipwreck. You're in the game somewhere. What is going on? I accidentally drank some water. That was my bad. That wasn't on purpose. Now, the first thing we got to do is create a campfire, which is going to be the central focal point of your newfound empire. Now, the thing that the game will do if you're brand new is that you'll see, I'm trying to find one, give me a second, guys. There's a little tutorial system. So if you look around, sometimes you'll see a glowing blue wisp, which actually tells you what to do. It's like, oh, hello, friend, go and build this. It's a tutorial. It tells you what to do. But as I am a man that has put pretty much no life gaming into this for the last week, I don't need that. I know what I'm doing. So we're going to run off into the random wilderness a little bit here and find a nice place to set up a camp. Wait, did I just see a cursed bunny rabbit? I'm saying it's cursed because I don't remember what its name is, but it's pretty weird. If we go up to it, it's hard to see. It's technically a bunny rabbit, but it's also got horns. Unfortunately, I'm not too fast because I'm not an Olympic runner, but one day we'll probably see one where it's not running away, and you'll see how strange it really is. So if you look at the map, this is randomly generated. So every time you play, everything will be different. You're literally a brand new island. I don't know if they plan adding more like islands in the future, but for now you get one very large island. Now, what I personally would say, if you want to play this game, is make an make a village in the middle of the island, because then you'll have access to pretty much everything at the same distance, because there's quite a lot of running involved. Though, do not create a base next to a wolf den. That's a bad idea. Okay, let me just back up here. I'm not actually here. I'm a figment of your imagination. Oh, speaking of wisps, everybody, there's a tutorial thing, if you want to follow it. Okay, let's back up a little bit. So, this game is kind of got a lot of enemies in it. So you have such as wolves, you just saw, you have bears, you have draga, you have zombies, you have some weird, like, mutant devil thing. I don't really know how to describe them, but they're pretty funky, to say the least. Now, trying to find a place to actually build a camp is always a bit... How I found a bear? Oh god. Let's talk about this. Wait. I have a family. Wait, I'm not lying. Okay, wait. It's okay. So combat in this game is probably a bit arcade than people might expect a little bit, but you have some basic things. You can do a light attack, heavy attack, and you can do stuff as blocking if you have... What's that bear doing? Okay, I think we should get out of here. Let's run away! I'm not here. I'm like the wind, everybody. A ninja in the wind. Okay, we'll escape. Yeah, so if you've got a shield, you can block, and also you can do a little bit of a combat role as well. Now, like I said, combat is in the game. You've got to fight a lot of enemies. They attack your camp every once in a while, etc., etc., but it's not probably like as in-depth as like the directional combat from Bellwright, but I think it still serves a pretty good purpose. And also the AI can fight as well, which is good to say, because some games the AI can fight, but they're terrible at it. This game, they're pretty good. Like, if they get hurt, they will retreat. I mean, that's pretty much all we got to say there, because sometimes they don't, and they just get themselves killed in most games. So I've been running around a little bit, guys, and I think this place will do for this little video here. It's also next to a giant death spire. I don't know if that's a good idea, to be honest, but this is just for the YouTube video. It'll be fine, right? I wouldn't normally recommend spawning in next to a giant tower of doom and destruction. That will definitely kill all my villagers. But for this situation, I think it'll be fine. Anyway, so I'm going to put down the campfire, which is the very first build you can make. And in this game, technology is not via points or anything. It's actually kind of just by doing things. So if I want to go and build a shelter, which is you need to sleep, you build a campfire. Fair enough. What if I want to build a campfire? Oh, you need to build a simple fire. It's like that, guys. It's pretty simple. All these things are unlocked by doing other things. That's pretty much the entire thing you get out of this at this point. So there's no like random tech tree points or anything. It's literally just build things, you get other things. Pretty simple. Now, if we put down a simple campfire here, you'll see that it needs a few things here and there to do. So something I would recommend, one of my first tips of the game is press Q, everybody. Q's a pretty handy situation. Q pins it to... Oh, there's achievements in this now? Why wasn't there achievements before? I've been playing all week. Whatever, it's fine. So as you go into this, you pin an item on the top left there. You can see what you need. So we need fiber and sticks. Pretty simple because fiber is everywhere and so is sticks. Now, something I love about this game for finding items and resources is you can press Z, which is a pretty easy situation to learn what's nearby. If I press Z again, you will see that there is stuff being highlighted. There are some berries. There is some fiber. There's even a rock over there. Now, so I get a quality of life little thing. I think it's pretty cool. If I do tap it again, look at the ground. It gets smaller. I don't know why that's the case technically, but I feel like it's probably like a gameplay enhancement, right? Because you think about it, like, go and play Bell Royale or something. You drop a bag on the floor. Before they added like the giant markers, I couldn't find those bags for the life of me. They've just gone somewhere. This makes it pretty easy to see stuff on the floor, because if you do like some looting or killing, that kind of thing, you will find there's a lot of stuff on the floor, and it's pretty hard to find. Unless you tap Z, then it's all easy to see. Now, to get this stuff sorted out, I need to get myself some sticks and fiber. Now, something I absolutely adore about this game is how inventory works. Now, you have 3 different slots in this game. You have your small slots, which is for small items, pretty self-explanatory. Medium slots are such as like sticks, thatch, tools, and then you have one large item which is going to be a log. I mean, or like a giant rock, that kind of thing. So, with all that out of the way, let's put this down, and we have built our very first campfire. Now, what does this do? Nothing really. It's a campfire. It just lights up at night. Not very useful for this time of year, but if you're in the depths of winter, and I will say they are the depths of winter, like negative 30 degrees, guys. It's absolutely terrifying. You need fire, or you will die. Now, something I absolutely adore about this game as well is the upgrade system. So you go into any building. Now, this early access, I will point out, you can pretty much always find an upgrade for most buildings, but not all of them. Like, some of them don't have any. You can upgrade things. So I can upgrade this simple campfire into a campfire, which means it just works better, guys. And also, after that, I can upgrade it again to get a barbecue and a cover to protect it from the rain, because in this game, if things get wet, they don't work very well. Well, in most cases anyway. Now, the next stage is, of course, going to be to upgrade this fella. So we need to get ourselves some small stones and some sticks. Now, instead of being a complete caveman just running around picking up stuff on the floor, we should probably make some tools. Now, this is where this game gets a little bit strange compared to other games, because you don't just simply create a tool. You have to do things in between. So if I go and want to get a stone axe, for instance, I need 3 things. I need some rope, which is made by fiber. I need a stick, which is made by a tree. And also I need a stone blade, which is an intermediate resource. Now you're thinking, why have they got these? This is like way too much grind. Why have I got to make stone blades or axe heads over and over again? Well, this is mostly due to the actual NPC system, because when you get a giant village of like 50 to 100 dudes running around, you're going to need a lot of like base materials and stuff. So it's more about it being awkward at the start of the game with a lot of intermediate resources to create. But once you get your very own army or villagers running around helping you out, it makes things a lot easier, to say the least. So we're going to go and focus on trying to get enough resources to build ourselves our very first tool, which will allow us to cut down these big trees here. Well, I say big trees. We can cut down this fir. We cannot cut down these because they're just too thick for us, everybody. We are not thick enough to deal with that. Now, let me just run around a little bit and try and find some rocks. Now, rocks are a little bit hard to find if you don't stay on the beach, and I forgot about that, and I've already run away from the beach, but we'll find something soon. Okay, so we are sinking into the depths of night right now because I had to run back to the beach to get some stones, but we have got to the point where I can make some stuff. So, if I go and look at my little thing here, I've already created myself 5 stone blades because I forgot I should have been talking about when I did it. These are just used to make pretty much any iron tool and a lot of different things as well at the start of the game. Now, with that, we can go and make ourselves, hopefully, a stone axe to get wood and a stone pickaxe to, well, get more stone. Now, we also need some rope as well, so we will do this on camera. I need to get some fiber. Now, unfortunately for me, I haven't picked up much, so if we look around, we pick up some nearby flax. Now, I will say, as a hint of the game, flax is one of the biggest problems. It always has been. Like, you need it for pretty much everything, and you need a lot of it. It's needed for pretty much every single building to make rope. You need it for pretty much every single tool, and you need it for every single item of clothing. So if I were you, I would make a farm very quickly, or at least have a large network to create or gatherers to pick up a lot of flax across the mission. So we're going to build ourselves 5 rope. Done. Now, I didn't do what I wanted to do. Now, you actually play the game, you level up everybody. It's kind of like an Oblivion kind of system. So you do things, you get stronger. Simple as that. I mean, right now I have level 6 harvesting down the little shebang here, and kind of like RimWorld, you also have a XP modifier. For my character, Ragnar, is good at hitting people in the face, so he has a little bit of a boost when it comes to killing people with melee combat, becoming stronger. Now, these skills here got to 100, I believe, and every once in a while you get like a new ranking. It's mostly about the number though. The higher your number, the better you are going to be. And when I say that, I mean really, guys. The damage value goes up dramatically. You're going to be far better at doing anything if you have a higher level of skill. And when I say that, I'm not on about like 10%. No, I'm on about massive margins here. You get drastically better at your jobs. So, just like that, we have ourselves an axe and a pickaxe. Now, these guys are pretty cool. If you look down the little, my character now, because I've actually got them on my character, I have them on my back right now. Like, nearly everything you put on your character is on your character, which I think is pretty cool. Most of the time they just go into a magical backpack, though of course items like these are in my magical backpack, but at least it's on my back. So now with that out of the way, let's go and get ourselves some stuff. So we still need to get ourselves 2 sticks and 6 stones. We'll cut down a tree here. Now 8 damage on a tree is pretty bad. My current character does around 50 to 60 damage per hit on my other game. So as I said before, skills matter a lot, as well as the quality of the tool as well. So as we destroy things here, you simply have to destroy a tree and then process it, and it turns into a bunch of resources. Everything in this game is pretty much visualized as a resource. So like from this one tree I just cut down, we have a lot of things. We have sticks. We have large long sticks, which you can use for construction. We also have ourselves some resin for torches and like praying and that kind of stuff, and some stuff such as bark. There's a lot of different things, and there should also be firewood, but I can't see any right now, but it exists in the game, trust me. So, this is a quick way of getting ourselves some sticks and stuff, and also if we have a pickaxe, we can actually destroy the tree stump to turn it into firewood. Now, you kind of need to do this anyway if you want to try and build a big sprawling village, and you've got a bunch of tree stumps everywhere. Not very handy. I recommend getting rid of them as you go along here. Next thing we need to do is try and get rid of some rocks, and then we can hopefully upgrade the campfire to its second stage. Now, this is going to take a little bit longer, of course, because I'm using a level 1 pickaxe thing. It's not very powerful. It's going to take a bit of time. Now, something a bit like Valheim, I would say, is as you smash the ground and stuff here, if things kind of fall apart dynamically. That was perfect timing. Thank you, game. You can kind of see as I do it, it kind of splits apart, goes different locations. It's pretty cool, and different parts of the object fall off here. So we have ourselves some larger stones we can use for construction. This counts as a large item. It's pretty damn big. And also we have ourselves some small rocks, which we need to actually do the campfire right now. So have I covered 6? No, I got 5. Damn it, we need 1 more. Now, as one of my extra hints I'm going to put out into this game here is something I did not realize when I started this game, which would have saved me personally a lot of time, is that a lot of items can be double harvested. Like, what do you mean by that, Threatx? Well, let me quickly explain. So, as I do things such as this, I get resources, right? Now, if I go and look at this fella here, you'll notice that he has a HP bar. Why would that be? You can destroy large objects such as long sticks, logs, again, to get the smaller items inside them. So if I destroy this large stone here, you will see that I would actually gather more small rocks. Now, you're thinking, no, let's just go and get more rocks, man. You're right. With the rocks, that's pretty obvious thing to try and do. But with flax, it's a bit different. Because flax is mostly only found at the start of the game from these little these plants, these literal just plants that are right in front of me. You do have a little bit of a problem where trying to find it if you start gathering through an area. So I would say stuff such as thatch from the beach and also bark can turn into fiber if you need it in a pinch. I wouldn't recommend doing this normally because you need all bark as well for buildings, but it's pretty damn handy. Cool, so my campfire has been upgraded, and it's just going to be generally a better item. So now we've done all this, we get to the next point, which would be creating a shelter. Now this is, I think, the last building required to make before you can start spawning in villages, which is very important. So, as we build stuff, you can kind of see you can rotate it around, doing that kind of thing, and it tells you generally what it does in the descriptor menu here. Unlike other games, though, we need to try and prepare the land and stuff first, because you can't build on the side of cliffs. You need to make sure the land is nice, equal, square, and you can put stuff down there. So we actually need to get ourselves a wooden hoe, and not that kind of hoe, guys, a working hoe. Actually, that doesn't make it any better. We need a hoe, everybody. So if I grab myself a little bit more sticks and stuff, we can dive right into that. And also, if you look at the bottom left of the screen, my character's starting to have a bit of a problem. He's a bit dehydrated. Now, this is a bad thing in this game. This is a survival game at the core, right? So if these resources run out, any of them, so we have, from left to right, we have food, water, and temperature. There's going to be a problem. Now, luckily, the game gives you a nice little water pouch at the start of the game, which you can hold 5 charges in, which is pretty handy. But if you don't have water, and you've used it all, looking around, you can probably find yourselves a few water sources. Like this guy right here. It's a rock with some holes in it. This is a natural water source. I can drink directly from it, or I can store it in my flask for the next time, which is pretty handy. I would say, though, as you play the game, the AI or villagers use exactly the same methods you do, so having people run around gathering water out of rocks is not very efficient, and you're going to need a lot of damn water, guys. If you use water for cooking, for farming, for drinking, you're going to need a lot of it. You probably need to get some wells and stuff up quite fast, so it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. So as I modify the ground here, you see that I've cleared the area away so that we can put down the foundation of my settlement here. Now, this thing requires some long sticks, which luckily for me, I have already just over here. Did I destroy them? No, I did not. Perfect. Come on, me friends. So now this is what I was saying at the start of the game. The very start of the game is a little bit grindy. I think it puts some people off, which I think is a shame, because as you get going and get the villagers, this game is amazing. I absolutely love it. So, but for now though, I will show you the full process of creating a villager. So now we put in those 2 sticks, it's gone green, which means it could be constructed. However, we need another tool again to get that going. So I need to build myself a wooden hammer, which just simply requires 2 sticks, which is pretty simple because it should be everywhere. Hello. So I would say it's a bit weird, by the way. We can't go over it yet because I haven't got any villagers. But for some reason, they don't gather sticks off the ground, the gatherers, but you can only get them from logging. It's a bit strange if you ask me, because there's literally small bushes everywhere you can gather them from. It's a bit odd, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's pop down our wooden hammer. And I gotta say, it's hammer time. No, I'm joking. Now, this is a weird hammer. Look at this thing. You're slapping the ground with like some weird like children's toy, like a rattler. It's a weird hammer, I must say, but I guess if it's made out of a stick and another stick, it does kind of make sense. So buildings actually have stages in this game. It's not just simply doing one thing and then you've done it right. You've got to make it in like different things here. So we've made the foundation. Now we're making the general base, which is the long sticks and regular sticks. And then finally, you will have a stage of putting on the roof, which in this case will be bark. Which is why I was saying don't turn everything into fiber if you've got bark, because you're going to need a lot of it, guys. I think some buildings I build have like 30 to like 80, I think 70 bark required. That's a lot of damn bark, everybody. Trust me, that's a lot of damn bark. Okay, let's drop this over here. As soon as you get a villager, by the way, they're very intelligent and they will do all this stuff for you if you tell them to do it. Now, villagers work in a way of having general jobs. So the default job of a villager is to simply build. Yep, that's what he does. If there's a building mission, a repair mission, any kind of thing that involves building, he will do it, everybody. And also it involves stuff such as building up the terrain and stuff, because there's actually an option here if you want to, which I use quite often. We'll see a future village later in the video where you can modify your terrain to your liking and have it all leveled out and stuff. It's pretty cool. Now, I will say something I would like to see with the terrain modification tools is that you can only level. You cannot go up, you cannot go down, you can only level something to an existing terrain height, which does lead a bit of problems at times if you want to try and make like a hill fort. It makes it a little bit challenging, but I found a way in single player. Pretty sure people can find a way when they're playing themselves as well. So let's smash out this building here and we'll try and build it soon. So I will point out the way you can easily see what your level does is with building. So you see the top left of the screen, every time I hit I do like 8 to 9%. As you level up, you'll see it gets better. I mean, I'm still using a wooden hammer in single player, but I'm level like 40. I do around 25 building per hit. It's pretty crazy, guys. It's a massive increase just doing things and getting better. Okay, the day has been survived. It's okay, we can do this. So as I'm gathering the last bit of bark here and there, this game's got not a time limit, but a bit of a time limitation because we start in spring. It's a brand new year. But we are barreling towards winter, and in this game, temperatures under, well, 0 degrees can kill your character and that of your villagers. So I would wholeheartedly recommend you prepare for winter very early on. When people get cold, they can't work. They have to sit by fires or they die. It is a terrifying situation, but we can go over that later in the video when I show you a bit more of a finished town. So here's my shelter. This is a pretty cool thing. Every shelter in the game you can sleep in. So you as a character do not need to sleep at all. You are pretty much a god on this plane. But there are things you can do that will help you with sleeping. So if I, for instance, sleep in my very own personal way, please, have they fixed it? Yes. I don't like sleeping under the covers, so I always sleep on top of my houses. Makes it very awkward at night, though, when it's windy, because I might fall off, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So every shelter, so you have different types, right? So you have this basic one. You have a cottage, a chieftain house, which is just for you, by the way, and a longhouse. They all provide a certain buff when you sleep. So I just did that, and you'll see at the bottom of the screen, I now have a lightning bolt. No, I'm not 4, but I have a buff. So this means that I get myself a little modifier, which increases my stamina replenishment rate, which is very handy because if you're running around doing jobs, it makes things quicker going back. Now, if you, for instance, get a bonus from a better building, it will be vastly better. It's not even close, trust me. They get pretty crazy. So at this point, the last stage we need to do to create ourselves our very first villager is to create the Eye of Odin, which requires Jotun blood, which is something we can go over in a second, but it's basically the lifeblood of your village. You need to have 5, put it inside Eye of Odin, and Bob's your uncle. You have created yourself a villager. Well, summoned one to the plane anyway. So this thing is a little bit different than buildings, mostly because it requires a lot of rocks. But when I say different, I mean it just needs different materials. So I want to quickly build this up and we can see what we need to do to actually get our first villager. So as I nearly got the materials to make our very first Eye of Odin, I will quickly also explain how to get more Jotun blood, which is actually the material I picked up from the beach right at the start of the game. Used primarily to summon villagers at the Eye of Odin, remains of an ancient foe of the gods. Now this stuff is everywhere at the start of the game, but this is a finite resource. Don't get me wrong guys, if you run out of Jotun blood shards, you're going to be in a bit of a bad time because it'd be very hard to get more villagers. However, you can also loot them from like corpses and stuff as a chance, not as a guarantee. So to make anything, you try and get ourselves 5 Jotun bloods. Now, I've been hitting this rock for a while because my character is horrifically low level at this point. But as we destroy the shard, things pop out. So in this case, we picked up ourselves 2 Jotun blood. Now, as far as I know, your skills do not determine what is inside one of these rocks. Sometimes you can get one with 4. I think it's my record. Most of the time it's 2. Sometimes it's 3. You can get different amounts as you run around, but luckily as the rocks glow, you can pretty much spot them at the start of the game from anywhere, unless you're playing as me, apparently, because I can't see any right now. There's one! There you go. There, if you see one, I would recommend you to smash it out, just so you know where it is and bring it back to camp, because at the end of the game, when you get further and further, you have to go around the map trying to find this Jotun blood because, unfortunately, the AI cannot, for some reason, use it, mine it. They can mine pretty much anything in the game. When I say that, I mean literally anything but Jotun blood is gatherable by the villagers. I don't know why that's the case. Personally, I would love it if they could help us out with that because it's a lot of mining, but it's one of those things, guys. It's one of those limitations, I would say. So the last 2 things we need to finish off our beautiful Jotun eye blood is to get ourselves 2 large stones. Now, of course, as you watched earlier, I did actually find 1 or 2 earlier, but I don't remember where they were. They're in the game somewhere. I cut down a rock, and now I've lost my materials. If I keep spamming Z, it'll help me, right? Oh, that's a tree. Are these my rocks over here? Yes. Okay, perfect. Let's run these guys back. Now, it's a bit annoying that you can only carry 1 large amount at a time, but I will point out, in the actual game, actually I can probably show you later on, there is actually sleds and stuff you can build, so you can carry multiple items around, and if you get really far into the game, you can even make the AI have little trade routes with carts running around your employ. It's pretty cool, but we'll show people that a bit later. As for now, though, the Eye of Jotun will be finished, and we can start summoning our very first villager. So, guys, there you go. It has been constructed. It is quite beautiful, if I say. Now, if I press E on it, I can touch it. I can throw in my 5 Jotun bloodstones and activate its power. Now, this means you can create or summon a villager. You always have 2 choices every single time, and you cannot reset these choices once they've been put into place. Now, you're thinking, what's going on here? You got Tora and Ali, not the boxer. Now, they have 5 perks every time. Now, there is no guarantee that perks will be good. or bad. You'll probably have a mixture of them. There's a many different perks in the game. They go all over the place, but it pretty much determines what the character should be doing in their life. So for instance, Tora here has 2 perks I can see. She has mighty vigor. I possess exceptional stamina and strength. So personally, I would say that means she might be a good person to be like a warrior or something, if she can go fighting a long time. And also she has the power of a lumberjack, possess exceptional speed and efficiency while felling trees. These traits also normally come with an additional benefit, which would be increasing the XP efficiency. So I would imagine having that skill there, Tora would have the ability to level up logging faster than anybody else, making her a perfect candidate to cut down some trees. We also got Ali, who is apparently the opposite. She is terrible at cutting stones. Breaking stones is a challenge for me, and it takes extra effort. So basically, do not make her a miner. And also, she's tireless as well, which is actually a good thing. So, handy. Once you just made your choice, you simply just click confirm, and just like that, you start summoning a person. Now, that's one of the things where I'm saying, like, I might put people off at the start of the game, because so far I've been doing a lot of grinding, and I built like a very small camp, and now I have to wait 10 minutes to get my very first villager. But do not worry, everybody, because I will show you now what a village can look like in mid-game. Okay, welcome to my mid-tier village. At this point, I've been playing for around like a day, a very long day, but it's around a day of gameplay. I'm 36 days into the game, and I have a whopping 41 villagers in this little base here. Now, I gotta say, this is a really fun village I built on my own time, and I absolutely love it. I will probably carry it on when I can, but this is actually an old build of the game, so it's going to be deleted at some point, but I like this village. It's really fun. Anyway, so if you don't want to see the content at this point, if you already like what you've seen from the first half hour of the video, feel free to click off. If you want to go and buy it, go ahead, look at the description. But this is going to be showing off how villagers work, and also we might go over some tips and tricks at the end on my co-op game to help people out a little bit when it comes to playing the game themselves. So my character here is absolutely full of equipment here. Look at his back. Everything I have is on my back right now. I have like hose, axes, I got a sword, I got like a bow and arrow. I got everything you can think of here. And I think I also got like a bit of hide. I'm not sure where that hide came from, but it's mine. That's all I can really say. So this character has pretty much mid-gear equipment. He's got like a full armor set up. He's actually protected from cold for the most part. Unfortunately, at this point, I just finished the first winter, which is terrifying. If you don't have clothing winter, you will literally be frozen to death within seconds of walking away from a campfire being naked. It's terrifying. It goes down to like negative 20, 30 degrees. It's insane. So my character's pretty well stocked at this point, and his skill levels are pretty general. I mean, the biggest thing I have is stone harvesting at level 29, but I got some pretty decent array of skills right now, so everything I do is pretty much better. So if we go into the village itself, it's actually split into 2 parts. I am proud of this village because of what I did with the main part. So this is the main section of my village. It includes all the jobs. It has an archery range where you can see somebody is spending their days training their skills in archery. If you actually watch them, look at how cool this is. They full on train. They're not very good at the moment, but they are training. So they spend the day shooting targets. If you're actually a player, which I think is pretty nice, and you want to train your own skills, you can also just do this and you get XP. What is he doing? He needs a bow to protect. I think he broke his bow. I don't think he was very good at using it, so a bit interesting there. So these are the main quarters here. So I got some defensive buildings. I got a ton of gathering posts. This is where we collect everything. We got hunting cabins. We got logging huts, stone masons, gathering locations. We got a smithy guy. Look at this guy. He's just hammering away, creating iron for our glorious nation in the future. Everything you think you want to build in a village, I pretty much have all of it in mid-tier game content here. So this is the main part of the village where the Eye of Odin lives, and as well as all the jobs. We've got a nice little campfire, and I've actually gone around and built roads everywhere, because this game, morphing terrain is a very big part of it. Initially, this was a very small hill. I think it literally was like this big. But I managed to etch out very slowly a giant cliffside fortress, which I haven't finished with the building bases yet, with like gate towers, watchtowers, but it's pretty awesome. There's only going to be in the end 2 ways to get in here, but you can see that with the terrain system I've been using, I have made this into a hillside fortress, which I absolutely adore. So we'll quickly go through a little bit of a tour before we go into the villages. You kind of see already that there's a lot of people walking around, they're doing their jobs. Every villager has a different job. You can kind of see what it is at a glance based off their glowing icon. These are farmers. This is a storage person. They're very nice, simple, intuitive ways of quickly seeing at a glance what someone does. And also you'll see as well, they got quest markers. No, they're not going to tell me to go kill 5 wolves, but they will tell you at a glance if there is something wrong, stopping them from doing their job. So at the moment, you've got a problem. Orphid, what's the issue? I could not find carrot seeds. Fair enough. Good to know. I don't know why I haven't got any carrot seeds, but now we know that's why she's not working. So as we walk through here, I'll quickly finish the tour before doing anything else, because I am pretty proud of this little village I've made here. So the main section up here is all the buildings are for correcting stuff, and down here we have the main housing zone. Look at all these houses. How cool is this? We also have ourselves a nice campfire down here, a healing hut. Oh, he's not here right now, damn it. Where if you get wounded or get a cold, you can go and get immediately healed. And we have a gigantic amount of houses, which I think are absolutely awesome. These are cottages, by the way. So cottages are, I think, a very nice early game building, but it does take a while to build one. They're not cheap. It requires a ton of labor. So to compare, this is a shelter. The shelter provides 20 housing points, which is kind of like a morale boost kind of thing. And it needs this. 3 sticks, 2 rope, 8, oh sorry, that's not a stick, that's a long stick. 8 sticks and 8 bark. Simple, right? The cottage requires all of this. Yeah, so at this point, guys, you would have people helping you build. You do not do this by yourself. You do not have to carry over manually 7 stones, 13 long sticks, and 4 logs. No, 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 no. People help you. Do not worry. You're not doing this by yourself. At this point of the game, this has gone full colony sim mode, guys. We are the leader of our tribe, and the tribe is where the main power of our game is. Now, to go into what actually is happening around here. So, unlike other games, there's actually quite a few demands. Now, they kind of borrowed from different aspects in different games. So if I go and look at any villager, for instance, we do know from earlier that every person has some kind of skills. So as the villager is actually summoned in, they actually land on your land, they will immediately show you all 5 of their skills. So this person here, for instance, Burger, sure, is actually going to be marked as a gatherer. So what I personally did, a bit weird, I actually put little icons on all their names so I can see at a glance what they do. So G for me stands for gatherer. So this man here came with a bunch of skills. He's stout, storm right, he doesn't like storms. He's a wildling, a natural born hunter, not very good at logging, but good at gathering. So I decided to make this man into a gatherer. You can see he's level 30, which is higher than my highest skill. And he's pretty good at it. He runs around, collects resources quickly, and he does a pretty damn good job at it. So this villager lives in a house, he works at a location, and he runs around the map collecting resources. It all works pretty simply because I think how they've set up the system up, I think it works very well. We'll go over the whole shebang in a second, but to finish off what I was talking about, you can actually give anything to a villager. Villagers automatically equip any item they need. They go and get tools, they go and get clothing if they're missing it, they go and get food and water. They are very intelligent, and it works really well. So, as I was saying about RimWorld a second ago, this is the main part of having villagers, giving them a job, house, and also a schedule. So depending on the person, you will actually be able to assign a full work order for any villager you have. So what I would personally recommend is you create a different templates. So you can actually see right here, this is day normal. Very well named, if I say so myself. This man has no specific skills that make him better at working at the day or at night. So I gave him a generic day schedule. So this man here has the ability to work from 8 till, what time is that? 7? God, that's a long day, but it's okay. There's no unions at this point. We can get away with it. He has 2 hours on each side to do whatever he wants, and then he gets to sleep for 8 hours. All of these are important because if he doesn't work, you don't get anything done. If he doesn't sleep, he gets tired because he actually has a stat, which we can see somewhere, to rest. And if he doesn't have leisure, he just generally gets moody, and he will eventually leave you or not work very well. So it's very important to try and maintain high morale at all times. This guy's actually not very happy with me because he's apparently there's a storm recently. He's not very happy about that, and also he has to work nearly all day. But it is what it is. So with that out of the way, you can see basically how they work. You'll see as we go around here, villagers are doing different things. Some of them are on different shifts. So these guys here are having a little bit of a break in front of one of these statues. At the moment, there's not that many options for morale. I mean, currently you can make a wooden altar, you can make some rune stones, and that's pretty much the only leisure buildings we have at the moment. I haven't built any rune stones at this point in this single player game, but I can show you them a bit later. Rune stones give you massive buffs if you go and kill a boss in the game. So we will show you that off, but a bit later. Now, As they are doing whatever they want, they will gather food for the day, they gather water in their water skins for a long day's work, and they go about their jobs. So how do we assign people someone a job, you're asking? So if we go over to one of our gathering buildings, let's go and look at, say, the logging camp here, you'll see that someone has dropped something off. Thanks, buddy. Good job. So this is a very basic gathering building. It does a few things. So buildings normally have a few different modifiers. They have tiers. So this is a woodcutter's hut. When you start the game off, you can't actually build one of these. You actually build instead a woodcutter's pit. This is where things get a little bit complicated. You can kind of see how the game has different tiers. So at the start of the game, you can always build these basic things here: woodcutter, stonecutter, gatherer. You can imagine they will go and do the things it says on the tin. However, what they actually do in terms of like what they can gather improves over time. So for instance, a woodcutter's pit, they can collect stuff such as sticks, long sticks, bark, firewood, but they cannot collect logs. So as you upgrade buildings, they unlock new things they can gather, which requires more advanced tools. So in this case, this is a mid-tier building. It can collect all of this. Quite a few options, right? So gathering or general work orders in this game do not work like other games where you say I want 10 firewood. It works based off the building itself. You get a building, you assign different people to it. They will then go and collect items based off the priorities you have set. So to quickly go over this with the priority system, you have 4 different types. You have high, medium, low, and none. You can probably imagine what none is, but basically, if anything's on higher tier, it will start with that job. It will split it 50-50. It will do that stuff first. After that, it goes down, then it will start collecting sticks, firewood, and bark at the same rate, and then eventually it will go and do resin. Pretty simple system, right? How's that going to work with storage? This is where I think this game has a very simple system when it comes to storage, and I think it works pretty damn well. So, unlike other games like Bellwright, why is there a hole in the road? Someone explain to me why there's a hole in the road. I'll fix it. You want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Though I did kind of break my road, but I'll fix that in a second. So, as every gathering building or like general work building is, sir, I'm trying to build a damn... Get out my way, half-hand. Do we have a problem here? Could not find thatch. Deal with that somewhere else. He's just going to follow me around. They're very good at telling you when they're unhappy. Though it does kind of get in your way at times, like we just seen right there. Done. The road's been fixed. So this building here has a bunch of different little storages. So the game mostly has bespoke storage, which I think works brilliantly. I mean, it really does. If they want to go and gather thatch, they will gather 30 thatch. They have 30 slots in this little thing here. They will put it in. Once they reach that limit, they will stop. It's pretty simple. It works great. Now, there are some issues, I would say, which is mostly when it comes to mixed storages. This guy right here is a mixed storage. This guy can hold fiber and resin. This is where there's a little bit of a, I would say, an improvement that can be made in the game. Mixed storages are a bit of a haphazard. So I'm about to die from thirst. Let me get a well quickly. Because if it's priority based and say you have fiber and resin, eventually they will probably fill up one type of the resource and they can't gather the other one anymore. So you kind of have to do a little bit of micromanagement when it comes to unclogging certain systems. I do wish they change it. I would like a system where you can maybe reserve different spaces, but for now it does kind of work, but you got to keep an eye on it. Let's put it that way. But regardless, so for instance, this 6 storage here already has 36 in it. They will no longer gather sticks. Simple as that. If they run out of stuff to do, they will warn you. They will tell you, and you can maybe try and do something to use those resources or move them into storage. So after you got a guy gathering and running around doing his own thing, you then have the next phase, which is either you put them into a workshop or a building site to process them, or you can put them to storage. Now, storage in this game, I think, is awesome. So this is a warehouse. A warehouse normally... Why are you guys following me around? Did not find wooden shaft. Deal with it, people. Not my problem. Now, storage, it works with basically having a bunch of foundations. So if I go and have a look at the storage thing right here, let's have a quick look around. It's one of these items, that's all I know. Warehouse, there you go. This is a warehouse. You start with one single slot, you can upgrade it up and down, and then when you build that, you can build stuff on top of it. So in this case, if I go to the storage tab, you can see that I can build a gargantuan amount of different storages for different things. Now, this is where my explanation of gathering comes into play here, because if I have a warehouse and I have a storage of thatch and and I assign a worker to it, that worker will run around and fill up all the storages in his little warehouse. Works great, right? This means that he will then go and gather thatch from the gatherers on the woodcutting hut, which means the gatherers will then have to go and get more thatch to maintain their work orders. So it does kind of work in a way that you use warehouses as kind of like a buffer storage. And that's very important, I think, when it comes to crafting items and materials. This is actually getting a bit of a problem, guys. Can you leave me alone, please? They need leather scraps, pelt, linen, thread. Basically, we're out of everything. It's fine. So, unlike gathering, crafting's a little bit different. So, I love how they've done the system. I think it's really, really cool. So, workshops are a separate building. You start with a pit, and it's a tiny little building. It's hard to see because it's got these giant wings on it, but literally the main building is this little pit here. As you build them, you can actually build attachments onto it. So to quickly explain what that means, this little warehouse here, this workshop, has two attachments. It has on it a workshop for, what is this, leather. It creates leather, it cures it, it processes hides from animals. And then this one here is a weaver hut, which actually goes and creates clothing. You can see here that we actually have some clothing available. We have ourselves a, what is this? We actually have ourselves a hat, a glove, and some shoes, which the AI will automatically use and pick up when they see it's available. On the flip side, we have this other place here, which is a bit more advanced. This is a workshop for creating iron tools. And also we have a carpentry thing for creating beams, planks, that kind of thing. There's a lot of stuff going on with this game. It is pretty in-depth when you get down to it, and I like how it kind of like progresses up as you play through here. If I look at this, you can see it's different because unlike the Gatherer's Hut, you actually do work orders. Now this is going to be a major hint for me, but I'll go over it a bit later. If you, for instance, say I want 5 stone pickaxes, the AI will make sure to maintain 5 stone pickaxes on this tool rack here, which only has 20 slots. I'll explain why that's a problem later, but we can get around it, it's fine. Anyway, so that is a very brief explanation of how stuff works here. They will maintain whatever you tell them to make, and they will just keep on doing it until there is a situation where they haven't got resources to use to make the items, or there's a situation where they haven't got the storage to process it. It's a very fine balancing act of making sure your villagers have all the raw needs. They have all the stuff such as food ready to eat and cook, and also they have availability such as housing, jobs, good work schedules, and all that business. Now that's pretty in-depth, I would say, for a survival game, and a lot of your time will be spent managing your thriving village. Now this is personally why I love this game. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I like. It's simple as that. I love building up little colonies. It's kind of like a 3D RimWorld at this point. I think it's awesome, especially because people level up. The archers level up. They get equipment. They go and fight for you. This is a pretty awesome game, I have to say myself. I absolutely adore it. Now, after we've looked at this little village here, I think we're going to go to the last part of the video, which is going to be going over what late game entails, and also I'm going to say 10 tips and tricks I've learned after playing this game for 60 hours. Now, this last part of the video, we'll be going over some basic tips and tricks to help you make your very own Viking tribe, and the first one is a pretty simple one. We're actually doing it right now. Build roads. Now, in this game, stamina is a major factor for everything in life. It involves how fast you can collect resources, how far you can run, and it also dictates as well what the AI can do. If you build a road, the AI can literally sprint to their targets without ever running out of breath and getting an issue. A road gives you, I believe, a 90% reduction in stamina cost. To quickly show you what that means, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you see a white bar. That is my stamina. If I were to say leave this road, you would immediately see that it goes a lot faster. Now, my character is pretty damn powerful, and also I have 2 stamina buffs on my character already. If I did not have that, I would be out of breath already. It's a pretty important situation, which leads me into the second hint, everybody. You can stack very powerful bonuses. Now, currently in the game, I have 2 bonuses of stamina. If I stop running, it immediately fills up. If you were to play for yourself or see anyone else play this game, you will probably notice that stamina regen is pretty down low. If you're going to fight someone in combat, you're going to have a problem. You're not going to be able to regen stamina fast enough in time, and you're probably going to get your ass kicked if you can't dodge or slash your way through a conflict, because in this game there is a lot of enemies. So what I would recommend is that if you build houses, definitely make sure you build a chieftain house. This thing is quite large. It involves a lot of different things, but this house will allow you to get this very, very powerful buff right here. Well rested. It lasts pretty much 8 to 10 hours. I've not counted it exactly, but it does last a very long time, and it can save you in a lot of different troubles, especially when you're trying to explore on the map. It makes your life a lot easier. The second thing I would say is that the other buff, which is from generally sleeping in another house. You can go and sleep in any of your allies' houses, go anywhere. This includes long houses, cottages. You can have a quick nap, and you can get yourselves a nice little kip there. Which actually leads me to the third point here, which is houses are not set in stone. Well, actually they are in some cases, but hit me up. So when you build a long house, you kind of realize this by default, but getting to the long house takes you hours, days even, to get to the point of making this final tier massive building here. You can, however, make cottages quite early on in the game. These are quite a lot of resources to build, and it gives you 2 beds by default to keep your villagers in. However, that may not be enough for most people, because creating literally dozens of houses to house 2 people each is a bit overkill. Something I didn't realize when I first started playing is that you can actually go into any house and put down furniture, which is of course a whole different tab here. Now, I didn't realize at the time, but if you go in this and put a separate bed down, you actually increase the amount of people that can sleep in this house. Now, this is not a complete win for you, because there is a bit of a downside for this one. As you increase the amount of beds from 2 to 3 to 4, you will get a bit of a debuff. If you go and look here, you have a morale issue. The amount of morale you get goes down by, it's nerfed by quite a lot, 0.3% per agent in the house. If I get rid of someone here, you'll see it goes to 0.7. So 0.6, sorry. It does mean the morale bonus goes down quite a bit, but honestly, guys, you can maintain high morale without that anyway, so don't worry about it. But it does mean you can save a lot of resources by simply doubling up the beds in every single house you have until you can manage to build more large-scale ones, saving you a lot of time, because if villagers can't sleep, they won't work. So the next hint I was going to say is cooking, everybody. So this is actually a bit of a mechanic I didn't actually know existed until my friend discovered it by accident. So you might miss it as well. Cooking, for the most part, is a challenge. Keeping your villagers fed and good to go is a big thing. If they haven't got food, they will die. Literally. They won't be able to work properly. They will starve to death, and you will fall apart as a community. However, getting stuff off the floor, for instance, a carrot here, if I eat it, look at the bottom left of the screen, please, everybody, you'll see that it's not very effective. I barely gained anything from that. It was actually just a waste of time. It can keep you going on the fly walking around the base, but if you've got to work all day in like a forge, you want to have a full belly. So at the start of the game, you can pretty much immediately go and build yourselves a barbecue, which means you can get an AI to go around and cook some meat on the fire here, and you can get some more stuff. You can cook meats, you can cook fish, you can cook pretty much anything. You can cook anything that can be cooked and eaten without just being utterly destroyed. However, there was a third building, which I didn't realize was actually useful, which is the cooking house. Now, by default, this building comes with only 2 options, so I actually wrote it off thinking it was useless. So if I go into here and view tasks, you'll see that we have different options here. By default, you only have the ability to use berry jam and berry compote, which of course requires berries. Pretty simple. However, my friend discovered that if you go in to the cook pot yourself and you put your own items in there, anything you want, you would actually go and create your very own recipes. So for instance, garlic soup requires garlics, etc, etc. This will actually heal colds if you get ill. We can make like mixes. We can add in different things such as red meat, raw food. You can make different things that have different effects. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because if you want to go into combat and have a dexterity buff, you can use fish. If you want a healing thing, you can have garlic. If you want muscles, you can go for meats. And for me, the main thing here is that I can actually make a meat stew, which is extremely powerful compared to a carrot, and keep my entire village fed by using my most common resource, which is meat from hunting. So if I, for instance, look at the bottom of the screen again, eat this meat soup I picked up, yeah, your eyes aren't deceiving you guys. I filled up half the bar immediately. I now have a buff for strength. It is a lifesaver, and it makes you vastly stronger. At this point, what I recommend next is we look a little bit more into the nuances of the medium buildings. So this mostly applies to the bloomery. There's a reason for this, and it's pretty damn important. The bloomery is a very complex process, but you can automate it. It's totally fine. It involves you having a mixture of different items. Actually, can we do it right now? Can we just show people how this works? Kind of. We'll figure it out. So you put a different group of items. You have raw metal, you have iron ore, you put it into a bloomery, and then you start furnacing it. This is where I would say this is a very big hint, because as you do this, you have to, unless you use the AI, micromanage the bellow to keep it in a certain temperature range for a certain amount of time, and depending on how much fuel you put into it, it depends on how much iron you get out of it. Now, the issue is going to be coming from, if you put too much ore in here, the amount of time required to keep it at the correct fuel amount is going to be far too large for you to maintain. I definitely recommend doing an AI for this because they are amazing at it, but the issue comes from what happens when their shift ends. So if I let this person go for a second, let me just cancel this job here, they'll take over for me. At least you should do. Gertrude, get to work, please. Gertrude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is that a deer running around my base? It's getting shot by archers. Oh, what are the chances? Okay. So this is what I was saying about this being important building, because they work at a set schedule. They always do. She will work from 1800, 600. After that, she will go home and leave the furnace running. If you mess up creating iron ore, it becomes slag, which is completely useless and cannot be used for anything. Make sure when you set up a bloomery, you always assign 2 workers. You want to make sure you have someone that does a day shift and a night shift, and always make sure that they will overlap with their work hours, because as soon as Gertrude's shift ends, the other guys should be here ready standing to take over from creating items, because like I said, they just leave. They simply just walk away and let the items be destroyed afterwards. It's pretty important. This also goes generally to a point that I would say most things in the game, I would recommend having different workers at different time shifts. For instance, if we go over to a crafting station, there is only a single crafting area here for creating metal work tools. There is normally only a single place for creating such as carpentry or using a crafting bench. Having more than one person at a time in a building, most of the time could mean that they just flat out don't work efficiently. There is not people working at full speed at all times because someone's waiting around or moving resources. It's a pretty important endeavor to make sure you have a nice split work shift. Hello, friend. Get out of here. Don't attack my beautiful watchtower. How dare you? And he said. The next thing I was going to say as a massive recommendation is specifically to do with runestones. So runestones are gathered via bosses. We will go over that a bit later. But at the moment, you can create 4, as well as a very large and powerful temple, which you haven't done yet, but I'm looking forward to it. So out of all the temples, I think this one right here, the water one, is the most useful. So there's a reason for this. So as you build a temple, you can assign a priest to it, and they can then worship the Lord or God attached to it. Now, the reason this is so powerful is if we just turn it on right now, they'll run over to it in a second. There you go. There's for 2 reasons. So as they start praying, you'll see they got a little like prayer bar down here, and they start doing things. And all of a sudden, every character in the game is talking about filling our cups to the gods, which means that every single person in my tribe now has a modifier for the water temple. If you go and look into it quickly, this gives every single person this buff. Massively reduce first. This is why I'm bringing up the water one, because this means that you save a ton of water, which is used for pretty much everything in the game. Cooking, farming, living, everything needs water. This is a massive water saver and makes you vastly more efficient. If you can't afford to maintain all these things going off, you need a lot of resin, by the way, at least maintain the water temple. It is amazing. Now, apart from that, they also do other things as well. They increase your ability to get XP in certain fields. Water is melee combat. The green one, HP, wood cutting, stone cutting, fire, includes stuff such as like fire tending. They all have different aspects. Now, the next hidden thing, which I didn't even realize at the start, this also doubles a building that does leisure. If you sit down in one of these chairs, you actually get a second buff. This works with every single temple, and you can get all 4 of them at the same time. This is basically a different version of it. It's a bit minor, I think, in comparison, but it turns out over time. This means that even if they stop doing the ritual, you can maintain it overnight, for instance, or you can maintain it over a large period of time. The AI will also pick these up if they sit down in the leisure time. It's pretty handy. I can't show you right now because no one's taking a break, but it does work pretty well. So I would definitely recommend trying to get that sorted out as soon as possible, especially because of the buffs you can get. And also it means all your workers can level up faster if you have the correct runestones activated at one time. So guys, this is going to be one of the last points. I'm going to point out this one has a bit of spoilers in it, so if you don't want to know about the bosses and where to find them, feel free to skip this one. So, I'll give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay guys, we're in for this. Now, there are, so far I've killed 4 different bosses, and I imagine there'll be a 5th one, which is one of the giant Jotuns. Now, as you run around, there are 4 different artifacts, so each one is attached to a different boss, and each boss is a different enemy type. So you can normally identify them based off the general terrain area and also what enemies nearby. So you're going to have, for instance, in this situation, the zombies are going to be on the beach. Simple as that. The wolf boss is going to be by a wolf den. Simple as that. Once you identify where the boss spawns, for instance, this is the boss spawn area for the zombie dude, you will be able to come back here and do it over and over again. Pretty handy, to be honest. Do it as many times as you want to. It does take a bit of time to respawn. Originally I was going to go and fight the Draga boss, but it didn't actually spawn, so I did this make do. I will point out, I'm doing this for the video. I would not actually go into combat with 20% HP normally, but I'm insane. Once you've identified that a place is a boss spawn, you can pretty much immediately tell by these things. These are a bunch of weird markers on the ground. If you destroy them, you'll see that you will spawn a little bit of a red lightish kind of thing. And if you kill all of them, you will then spawn the boss to fight. Now, I will say, unfortunately, the game doesn't have very hard combat. I wish it was a bit more challenging. Maybe some difficulty settings would be great for this. Let's see if we can win with me having no HP in the first place. Okay, so once these boss spawn... Oh, there might be another one. Oh, it's happening. Why, hello there. The bosses are different, by the way. They are different types of enemies. So depending on what you're doing, you might have a harder time or an easier time. For instance, that guy nearly killed me with a charge, which is not a good start hit. Whoa. Now, I can't block with this character because simply, I can only block with a sword and shield. In fact, I'm probably going to die in a very short amount of time here, and it's going to be a bit of a disaster. You haven't got, say, e-sport level combat skills. You can actually put down a marker, do a time of day where you bring your entire army to you. They make them wait there, and then you can go and fight the boss together with your allies. Though remember that if they die, they die. So I would not recommend that unless you have a lot of allies or you're very confident you can take the aggro away from the boss. I would recommend you build flags everywhere, everybody. Not flags that you don't need those. So flags are split into different categories. You currently have, if I can find the flags, I've lost my mind. I've lost all ability to think. There you go, Marcus. You currently have yourselves 6 markers. Now, all of them are pretty useful different things. I personally do not use the building resource marker ever. You want to make sure as the game gets more going on, you want to have a good area of everything. So you need wood markers to collect trees, and wood markers also include collecting fiber from beaches. Very important. You have stone markers. You gather stone. It's as simple as that. Food markers are the most important one. Simple as that. If you run around the map and you find a cluster of fiber, which is by far your most useful resource, I would just plop down a food marker resource thing. It's called food marker, but basically any foraging is included in this. If you need a lot of fiber, which you do to create all these weapons, all these clothes, you need it. You need a big network. I have currently 6 gatherers, and I've covered the map in these icons. As soon as any fiber spawns on the map, they will run over to it and gather it. To keep people's mind at rest, if you have flags over here and there's fiber, but then their fiber is over here, they will go closest to their base first. They do not default to running across the map unless there is absolutely nothing else on the map on the way for them to pick up. Now, this will lead us to the last point on my tips and tricks video here on my first impressions, which is putting up work orders. So I've gone over a little bit of work orders already. You know how priorities work and you can set things up. I did not, however, go over how you got to be careful. If you go and look at a workshop, this is where you will fall apart if you're new to the game. And it's where I fell apart when I was playing, when I first started playing this game. You can make a lot of options here. I mean, a lot of options. Now, the AI will always maintain whatever you tell them to the letter. If I say to them, I want you to go out and create, 4 simple torches, they will maintain 4 simple torches. Simple as that. However, there is a problem. There is definitely a problem. Level 1 working huts have 10 slots in the tool rack. Level 2, 20. Level 4, I think it's 30 or 40. It goes up. Regardless, if you, for instance, say in this base, I want to maintain 21 tools, you will eventually have a problem. The problem will be is that the only craft is that there's space available in the storage area. This is important, very important, because if they, for instance, have 21 items and they fill up their storage, that means one item, in theory, will never be built. If, for instance, they build 4 torches but don't have any room for a rake, they will never build a rake ever until someone comes along and take one of these items away and adds a slot in. This is very, very important if you want to maintain a very well-balanced economy. If at any point you're missing any of the basic tools, your economy will fall apart. Items for AI works exactly like the player. They will have durability. They fall apart. You need to make sure you maintain a basic supply of weapons and armor at all tool benches, and you do not go over the maximum capacity of the storages, or they will not build stuff correctly. This is even more evident when I would say you get more advanced in the game, you build carpentry. For instance, this thing right here, large carpentry storage, actually holds wooden planks and posts. If I, for instance, ask them to maintain 3 posts, I can't maintain 4 planks. They will stop working. Extremely important for everybody involved to know that at the start of the game, I think, because without it, you're going to have a very hard time. You can, of course, store stuff in storage if you want a buffer. Like, for instance, I have buffers for pretty much everything apart from tools. It's helpful, but not exactly going to save your life if you have, like, a bad setup when it comes to your tool making in the first place. But everybody, I think apart from that, that is going to be it for my first look video and also tips and tricks. I don't normally make these kind of videos because why not really? Now, if you want to know when my normal content will return, I honestly can't commit to anything right now. So if you would like to look at the pinned comment below the video, you will see what I've said right there. Apart from that, this game is brilliant. I've played this game for 60 hours at this point, probably 20 hours by myself and 40 hours of my friend, and I absolutely love it. This game is early access from today. If you want to go and get it, have a look in the description of the video. There's a link to it right there. Thank you for watching this video. As always, please like, subscribe, and comment below, and I will see you next time. Bye.